Welcome back, friends, to our CNS integrated session. Today we'll be seeing frontal lobes neuroanatomy with its physiology and its applied aspects. This is the lateral surface of the brain. This is the major sulcus, central sulcus. The gyrus anterior to it is the precentral gyrus, which is the primary motor cortex, which is responsible for carrying out the motor functions. And there are two sulci, superior and inferior frontal sulci, dividing the frontal lobe into three gyri: superior, middle, and inferior frontal gyrus. The inferior frontal gyrus is further divided into three parts. One is orbital part, triangular part, opercular part. And the middle frontal gyrus contains the premotor area as well as the frontal eye field. Next, superior frontal gyrus contains the supplementary motor area, the functions of which we'll be seeing in an animation manner now. Let's see in this motor cortex how is these motor functions allotted to different areas. This allotment we call it as motor homunculus. If you see this, you can appreciate mouth as well as hand, especially thumb is given maximum representation here. So this is the primary motor area, which is Brodmann's area 4. So we'll start from below downwards. First is the muscles of esophagus as well as pharynx larynx, responsible for swallowing. Next, the general rule in premotor cortex is for whatever movement you are doing, planning is always done in the brain, in this premotor area. So whatever areas you find in primary motor cortex, there are always corresponding areas in the premotor cortex guiding their activity. Like that, for muscles of speech, articulation, it's guided by our Broca's area, Brodmann's area 44. This Broca's area orchestrates this lip and mouth, the articulation apparatus, in such a way that specific sounds and voices are produced. And then this Broca's area is actually controlled by Wernicke's area, which we saw it in the temporal lobe. This connection is by the arcuate fasciculus. The Wernicke's area gives commands and the Broca's area follows it with this articulation apparatus, the lips and the mouth. And the lips and mouth also help in chewing as well as mastication. Next is face is represented, and for face also there is a premotor area which helps in the guidance of head movements, head and neck movements. Next comes our push buttons controlling our both eyes, the frontal eye field located in middle frontal gyrus. It is responsible for conjugate eye movements. Both eyes will move in the same direction. Okay, and blinking movements also. Brodmann's area is 8, you can remember easily. Then you can remember it as a push button. Whenever it is stimulated, it pushes the eyes towards the opposite side. Both eyes will look towards the opposite side when it is stimulated. It's the great skills which are possessed only by humans. Nothing but the fine motor skills. Hand, maximum representation is thumb, because fine motor skills like writing, painting, all these stuffs can be done only by humans. So this also has a planning area in premotor cortex. Next is the minimum representation for the trunk, shoulder and buttock muscles, axial muscles. Okay. Next, perineum, responsible for urinary as well as fecal continence. Then the lower limb dips into the medial surface of the cerebral hemisphere, frontal lobe. Thus, this trunk muscles are controlled by supplementary motor area in the superior frontal gyrus. Thus, we saw a list of planning members in the premotor area and the executory members which are present in the primary motor cortex, which is the Brodmann's area 4. Now let's see one interesting area, which is the prefrontal area. which actually defined the level of thinking in a human versus an animal. In short, if you want me to say, it is the sixth sense. Like the humans possess social behavior, how to behave in a society, and how to process thoughts. And actually, this area is unique for each individual. Like, this is the area which decides your personality. How is your personality? What things you desire, what things you don't. Next is, by looking at this cube, what do you think? How will you solve it if it is given to you? You will first think how to do. You will plan a moment and you will sequentially move these cubes and you will solve this problem. This is the function of prefrontal area. Nothing but motor planning, sequencing of events, as well as problem solving. Actually, if you see, this prefrontal area as well as this orbitofrontal area are closely connected with each other because their functions are overlapping. Like, as we told, the prefrontal area is concerned with social behavior, thought processing, personality identification, motor planning, problem solving. Orbitofrontal, meaning it is closely connected with the limbic system. So, it is obviously involved in memory, which is the working memory, emotions, as well as behavior. Working memory is like if I ask you to remember a phone number for a short span of time, you will remember, na? That is the working memory. Now we will be learning two important pathways coming from the midbrain, from the substantia nigra, which is a rich source of dopaminergic neurons. Dopaminergic neurons will be sprayed to the limbic system. So it is the mesolimbic pathway, midbrain to limbic system. And one more pathway from the midbrain to the prefrontal area. This is the mesocortical pathway. Okay, this pathway actually stimulation will lead to attention and all the stimulation of prefrontal cortical functions. And this mesolimbic pathway stimulation will lead to excessive emotions, rewards, memories. Now we will see how does the middle cerebral artery supplies the frontal lobe. Middle cerebral artery gives a branch which is the Rolandic branch which runs in the central sulcus and supplies the motor cortex, and pre-Rolandic branch which supplies the premotor area. Next is the orbitofrontal branch playing the orbitofrontal area. Now let's see how does anterior cerebral artery supplies the frontal lobe in its medial aspect. First is the medial orbitofrontal branch. Next is the frontopolar branch. Next is the calloso-marginal branch, and it ends as pericallosal. Why it is callosal? Because it is above the corpus callosum. This artery for medial surface is anterior cerebral, lateral surface is middle cerebral. Now let's see what if stroke happens in the frontal lobe. If it is due to MCA blockage, I will be showing it in blue color, and if it is due to ACA blockage, I will be showing it in red color. First is the primary motor cortex is affected, so it will result in contralateral hemiplegia. And if ACA is affected, it will manifest as contralateral hemiplegia of the lower limb alone, since it supplies only the lower limb part. Next, and also we saw perineum is also supplied, so urinary fecal incontinence manifests, and lower limb is guided to walk by this premotor areas. If this is affected, walking, which is a learned motor movement, can't be done properly. This is apraxia, gait apraxia. Just remember, mostly apraxias happen due to lesions of parietal lobe. These are few exceptions. Gait apraxia due to frontal lobe lesion. Okay, yeah. Next is affection of Broca's area. So it will lead to Broca's aphasia. The teacher who will tell how to speak, it is affected. So no word output, he can't speak hereafter. but he can understand. Understanding is done by Wernicke's area, na? He can understand. He can't repeat since Broca's area is affected. If Broca's aphasia is associated with arm weakness, then we call it as branchial syndrome. If it is not associated with arm weakness, if it is associated with laryngeal pharyngeal paralysis, then it is called frontal opercular syndrome. Since that opercular area, which involves Broca's area as well as this areas for swallowing are affected, this syndrome manifests. Then what will happen if our push buttons, that is the frontal eye field, is affected? Conjugate movements can't be done properly. These push buttons can't push the eyes to the opposite side now. So, unopposed action of the other frontal eye field will make the eye deviate towards the side of lesion. Only if the frontal eye field is extensively damaged, like a tumor or massive infarct. Okay? Next, let's see the medial surface of frontal lobe and its stroke features by ACA blockage. So, if orbitofrontal artery is blocked, these functions of the prefrontal and orbitofrontal are affected. So, no social interaction will be there among the persons, thought process will be blocked, their personality changes will be there, and they can't plan an action. Emotionally, if you see, they'll be very cold, no response will be there, they'll be just dumb, akinetic mutism, no movement, no speech at all. Before concluding, we will have a short overview of what happens in schizophrenia. In schizophrenia, this mesolimbic pathway will be overactivated. So, limbic system emotional overactivity happens. This contributes to positive symptoms of schizophrenia. Positive means those which are not present in normal individuals, like hallucinations, delusions, all these things. And this mesocortical pathway will be under functioning in schizophrenia. So, this prefrontal functions will be lost. Negative symptoms of schizophrenia. Those which are present in normal individuals are absent in these people, like social withdrawal will be there. They won't interact with people. Thought processing won't happen properly. Thought blocks will happen. These are the negative symptoms of schizophrenia. Thank you friends for watching. Hope you like this video. You can download our notes, PDFs in our WhatsApp and Telegram groups and comment your opinion regarding this video so that we will be able to improve in our upcoming videos. Thank you.